What is up guys, Kane here, and in this video we're going to go over the Sylph race. Or rather, there won't be much to go through. The thing is, as I have written in here, I would really love to play it if I wasn't playing Rakan, but the thing about their concept is, I like their city, I like their UI, I like their units and so on. However, they have so many weaknesses that makes it extremely hard to play at any competitive level unless you're some huge spender with access to an insane amount of materials in terms of like army rushes, all that kind of stuff, at least for the early to mid game. Keep in mind, they are one of the best races for the late game in terms of PvP. And what I mean by that is you can easily check, let's say, the duel towers, right? You go into the replays, you go into Sylvani, and you're going to find it right here. So let's not take too much context based on it. Trees died because most likely these monks tore them down. As you can see, yeah, monks, and they're also countered by Rakan archers providing fire. So level 50, Sylph won, 35, for some reason the human lost, but it was a very close fight by the looks of it. Yeah, level 50, Sylph won, level 50, Sylph won. So as you guys can see, Sylph is probably one of the best races for the very late game, because the trees become just impossible to pass through. However, this doesn't work the same in the early to mid game. Those trees just get obliterated by literally anything and almost any hero. So you need to be sure that if you want to play this race, you are ready to suffer a lot, and I do mean a lot in terms of events, in terms of PvP, and all those kinds of things. Now, let's start with their strengths. So they don't really have any strengths, at least for the early to mid game. They have a couple, but I don't think that they make this race playable. The first one is castle defense. So if you're equal or close to equal to the power of most other people, meaning if you were weaker, they will highly likely body you the same as Rakan. So not really much in there. The race is probably one of the worst to do anything in the early to mid game. However, there is one huge strength that this race has, and that is a Worm. This unit is insanely friggin' overpowered in this entire game. However, it's not as overpowered for the Sylph race as it is overpowered for all other races. Now what I do mean by that is, if you use this, let's say, Worm in most other formations for PvE, or rather races for PvE or events or whatever, this Worm will make all other 4 races win almost all of the events, and it will not help the Sylph win most of them, or at least you will need to put a lot more hours, a lot more time, and I don't know, the Sylph race is almost non-existent in most PvE content. At least from what I have seen and tested, they are really bad. And now, moving forward to their weaknesses. They are weak or near to useless in majority of events, and as I have explained, they are almost extremely useless in almost anything that they do, not even just the events. PvP is weak or also non-existent, probably until tier 11 to 13 trees where they start to survive, but majority of archers and heroes can still kill them anyway. And at least I have noticed that tier 11 and 13 started to survive. So if you're a huge spender and you're above your competition on your server, probably it could be like tier 10, maybe tier 9. But tier 11 to 13 is starting to unlock some researches which increase their tankiness, which increase their HP, which could more or less make them sort of meta or starting to enter the meta. However, I would not advise any new player to play this race unless you are a Worm bot for a friend or you're helping each other for events. So if you borrow your Worm for another person, he will help you in a 3-man event and all those kinds of things. So if you're doing teams or groups or whatever, I can say for sure that you can play Sylph, otherwise you should be thinking of playing any other faction, at least as a new player. And events they're good at equals none. I mean, sure you can do some of the events, of course, well, almost all other factions do them twice as better or faster or less casualties and all those kinds of things. Like, from everything that I have seen, Sylph is probably one of the most useless races in this game from early to mid. They really have nothing to make them competitive in literally anything. Anyways, this video was not to diminish, let's say, the Sylph race, even though it would sound like it. I see a lot of players playing this race, and the only thing I can tell them is for them to swap, because this race is useless and not many people do understand the aspect of playing events. And I can even show you a simple example, right? So we see the Dark Dimension, right? I am rank 1 in here currently, 6 seconds. We go to Nightfire Monster. I am rank 1 in here as well. We go to Elite Trials. I am rank 1 here as well. So Elite Trials, I used one race, I used another race for Nightfire, and I have pretty decked out heroes for Dark Dimension. So I'm playing most of the events to the top possible scores that I can do, and I am always swapping my races to participate in them. And a lot of people just stay in their Sylph race for most of the events and they achieve literally nothing. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching guys, and stay safe out there.